Okay, all right. I didn't line up for what you said. That doesn't help. Camille is back. Let's go,
Here we
Camille.
go.
Let's go, Camille.
Good morning, Dr. Moore.
Good morning.
Doesn't really appear to be. Woo!
You said you reviewed Mr. Depp's video deposition. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And you said you reviewed Mr. Depp's testimony at this trial, correct?
That's correct.
She looks like a
And
shark
was that
in the
also a
water.
video of his testimony?
Yes.
And you testified that Mr. Depp demonstrated that his hand was flat on a surface. Is that correct?
That's correct.
That's not entirely accurate, is it, though?
No, his description was relatively consistent in both, including turning and resting the hand on the
That's not
on the
accurate.
edge.
So here we go.
Isn't it true, Dr. Moore, that when Mr. Depp did the demonstration in his deposition, he showed that his fingers were hanging over the bar?
Well,
Yes.
even hanging over the bar, it still
Yes.
leaves the
Yes.
dorsum of the hand or the nail
Yes.
vulnerable
That's
to
not my
Yes.
question, Dr. Moore. My question
Stop,
is,
doctor.
There you go,
Isn't it
Camille.
true?
Let's go.
that
Right.
Mr. Depp said his fingers were not laying flat on a table. They were hanging over the bar.
Yes.
Okay.
That's right. That's what
And
I
in
want to hear.
fact, you
Yes or
knew
no?
that when you made that opinion. Isn't that correct?
Well, I believe that I
Yes or
as
no,
I
doctor?
demonstrated sitting here that I said that he had said they were slightly curled over. I think was the description that I gave.
Dr. Shaky already.
Your description in this courtroom was that it was laying flat, and I think you've done that now twice. But in your deposition, you testified that his fingers were actually hanging over the bar. Isn't that correct?
Objection, Your Honor. Misstates the witness's testimony. He clearly indicated they were curled. Or could have been curled.
Overruled.
Overruled.
So that's a distinction that perhaps I misstated in one of the two descriptions. However,
Chop him, Camille.
does
Camille.
not
Chopping
substantially
him.
change my opinion of
Chop him,
the
Camille.
impact it would have on the mechanism.
Here comes the note. We got a note.
Isn't it true that Mr. Depp also testified that the bottle came from an off angle?
He did
Yes.
say that.
And you consider
Also
that
fits with
in
the odd
rendering your
angle that
opinions
the cut-
today, correct?
They make sense.
Yes, I believe he stated that it came from between 6 and 10 feet. I think it was I think he demonstrated it was off to his right. I can't recall specifically, but it was off angle, yes.
Okay. So it didn't come from the top, as you previously testified just a few minutes ago, correct?
Well, no, it would have struck the
it didn't
top
come
of
from
the
the top.
finger, but it may have been slightly off angle in its approach based on the description.
Mr. Depp described it as off angle, correct?
Correct.
Dr. Moore, just at the outset, your billing rate
Camille
for
came ready
providing
to play.
deposition testimony is $1,000 per hour?
That's
1,000
correct.
power. Billing rate.
And you were deposed in this action for several hours on March 22nd, 2022?
That's correct.
And your billing rate for providing trial testimony is $5,000 per day.
That's correct.
Whoa.
You were retained in this
Okay.
case by Ms. Heard's legal team, correct?
Correct.
And over the last few years, you've provided expert
That's a big number.
services for one of Ms. Heard's law firms on at least 2 other cases, right?
That's correct, yes.
Dr. Moore, is it fair to say that you have no personal knowledge as to how Mr. Depp injured his finger in Australia, correct?
No,
That is
I have
correct. He
no
has no
personal
personal
knowledge.
knowledge. That's
My
it.
impression
That's
is
the-
based
that's
on his description of the injury and
That's it.
available
That's it.
medical
We have
records
no
for
personal
review.
knowledge. Yep.
But you weren't in Australia
I
with
was-
Mr. Depp and Ms. Heard,
I
correct?
was not in Australia, no.
And so therefore you have no personal knowledge as to how
That's
that
right.
injury was sustained.
Get him to ask the question.
Correct,
That's right,
You
ain't
also
have no
never
personal
personally examined Mr. Depp's finger, did you?
correct.
You didn't examine Mr. Depp's finger at the time it was injured.
I did not.
And you never provided any medical treatment to Mr. Depp in connection with his finger injury, did you?
I did not.
Now, you've testified that you identified Mr. Depp's finger injury as a crush injury, correct?
Correct.
And a crush injury is when a body part is crushed or trapped between two opposing
Terrence.
firm surfaces. Yes?
Yes,
And a crush injury to a finger can occur when a foreign object hits the finger, right?
yes,
And based on the pictures that you reviewed of Mr. Depp's finger injury, you cannot determine what particular object caused the injury to his finger. Yes?
well, I can't determine exactly what object.
Come
did
on,
it.
doctor.
I think that.
Come on, doc.
I can-
Come on,
I can
doctor. Come
say
on. Come on,
with
doctor.
confidence that the
Come on, you can't
described
tell.
mechanism of
Ah,
the bottle hitting,
doc.
shattering the finger was not
Doc,
consistent
you're a
with the
liar,
picture
doc.
understand that.
And
My
I think
Gotta
question
get paid,
is
doc.
very specific.
You're a
You can't
damn
determine
liar.
the object that caused the injury to Mr. Depp's?
Yes, you cannot.
It's a little bit more. of
You
a-
cannot
of a
do it,
No,
Doctor.
cannot.
non-specific answer. I mean,
No,
again, I
no, you
I can't
cannot.
determine the exact object, but I can
My Billy is
determine
going
that,
to
that
hell
it's
as we
unlikely
speak.
that it was sustained in the manner described.
A bottle is a foreign object, isn't it?
Yes.
So you can't rule out that the injury to Mr. Depp's finger was caused by a vodka bottle, correct?
Well, based on the
Well, you're
injury
right.
pattern, I can say that
Yeah,
the
that's
described
true.
mechanism of injury is inconsistent with medical findings.
Right. But because a vodka bottle is a foreign object, you can't rule out
Can't rule it
that a
out.
vodka bottle is what caused Mr. Depp's injury.
Can't rule it out.
Well, I can't rule out that a vodka bottle
That's it. That's all I
caused
asked
the
you.
injury, but I
That's it.
can
That's
rule
it.
out
That's it.
that it was
Sit down.
caused
That's it.
in the manner
That's it.
described
I
in
can't
his
rule out
testimony.
it was a vodka bottle.
You can't rule
Game
out
over.
the injury was caused by a knife, right?
I think it's unlikely that the injury was caused by a knife.
But he
You
can
can't
rule
rule
it out.
Well,
So you can rule that one
a
out.
simple knife
You see, you can rule it out.
laceration wouldn't
You can't rule out
impart
the
the
bottle.
injury
She's nice.
to the distal phalanx to result in the comedy fracture. Now, a chopping type, but again, that would likely come from a direction that would
Oh, he's
that would
flailing
create
now.
a dorsal
Yeah, he's all
injury
over the
to create
place.
the fracture that was developed.
Do you remember giving testimony in this case, Dr. Moore?
You going to impeach the
deposition?
expert?
Yes.
Yes,
And you were under oath, correct?
Oh,
Correct.
she's
Impeach
amazing.
the
And that was on
expert.
March 22nd.
Oh, don't tell me she's going to
2022.
impeach
Yes?
the
Correct.
expert.
Okay. May I approach your honor?
Oh, she's going to impeach
Oh,
the
she's going.
expert.
She's going
She's
somewhere.
going to impeach the expert. Oh, my God. Camille is crazy. Camille is going to impeach
I
the
love watching
expert?
a lawyer do great work.
Oh, my God. Here we go. She's going to impeach the expert. Oh, my God.
Dr.
How the
Moore,
hell
may I please have
expert?
you go
Here
to
we go.
page 163 of your deposition, specifically
Oh my
line
God.
17.
All right. Let's see it. Let's see it. Camille is going to take
163.
out the expert? All right.
What a legend.
Actually, apologies, 164.
Here's what $5,000 a day buys you, folks.
Damn, yeah,
Line
five
four.
grand a day. Here we go. Line 4.
correct.
Question, but you can't rule it out completely, right? Answer, I can't rule anything out completely. I can't rule out that he caught it in the door, cut it with a knife, or slammed it in the car.
Oh!
Or
Oh,
again, as
God.
Dr. Gilmer said,
Get the
you
hell
can't
off the
definitively
stand.
say what caused this
Get
injury.
down with the
Did I read
stand.
that correctly?
Sit down.
You did.
Sit down.
Your
Sit
Honor,
down.
What I would object is to
Oh,
the
of course you would
impeachment.
object.
I think
She's
it's fine to read his
destroying
answer.
my
She also
case.
needs to read or give Dr. Moore the chance to read the paragraph
No,
below.
no.
just picked out
That's
half
your
of his
job.
answer.
You
That's
can
your
redirect.
job.
Yeah,
That's
as
overruled
well as the
objection.
paragraph.
Overruled.
below.
Dr.
That's
Moore,
your
you have
job.
a question
For it,
pending.
but that's your
Yep.
Thank you,
problem,
though.
not hers.
Yep. Shut up and sit down. Look at him. Destroyed.
So you can't
Destroyed.
rule out that the injury was caused by a car door either. Is that right?
Correct.
But it's your testimony sitting here today that you can rule out that the injury was caused by a vodka bottle. Is that your testimony?
My testimony is that I can
you rule out
the
vodka bottle?
injury as caused by the mechanism described by Mr. Depp in his
Are you a
deposition.
biomechanics expert?
Uh-huh.
But
Yep.
you can't definitively say what caused the injury to Mr. Depp's finger.
Well, the definitive injury is a crush injury, but
He's
again,
trying to wiggle
I
out
can't
of it.
say. I mean, I think it's
Trying to
I think
wiggle
that-
out of it.
that It's quite likely that the initial mechanism described at the time of presentation of the accordion doors would classically create this injury pattern. You know, the hand up in front. If you picture accordion doors as the edge is closed, if the hand's up, the palm is exposed. If the door's pushed,
But,
Oh,
Dr.
you're
Moore,
making yourself look
about
stupid.
fingers.
I understand that. But
Well,
my question is,
I think it's important that they understand that.
this is the time for me to ask you questions. Your counsel will have the ability
Control
to
him.
Control
rehabilitate
him.
you and ask
Control
questions
him.
on redirect.
Control him.
Right
That's right.
now.
Reel him in.
Let's try my question.
Fish. Come on, fish.
You can't definitively
Get that
say
fish.
what caused the injury to Mr. Depp's finger.
No, you cannot.
Yes or no?
No,
In conducting your
we
analysis
go.
of Mr. Duff's finger injury, you did not attempt to reconstruct the incident. Is that right?
No. No.
Well, I think
No.
the incident was
No.
reconstructed. You mean did I throw a vodka bottle?
Did
or something?
you reconstruct
No,
the incident?
No, Dr. Moore. I mean, you
He's not
didn't
a
do any type of
biomechanics
accident
expert.
reconstruction, either computerized or you didn't conduct any type of accident reconstruction of the
No,
alleged.
that's correct. My opinion is based on the medical records and the clinical images and Mr. Depp's description.
And your analysis is based on an understanding of how Mr. Depp described the exact positioning of his finger at the time of the injury. Yes?
Which you had wrong.
Yes.
Okay.
Mhm.
And your analysis is also based on the assumption that Mr. Depp's hand remained completely still in the instance that a vodka bottle was hurled at him. Yes?
No, my assessment is on his description of the vodka bottle striking the top of his finger.
But his hand stayed still, according to your analysis. Yes?
I guess it was still
He's
long
scared
enough
to
for the
answer.
bottle to hit it. The
He's
natural
scared to answer.
reaction would be
He
to
doesn't, he
try
doesn't
to
know where she's going next.
When you perform traumatic finger surgeries, you inquire about the cause of the injuries, correct?
Correct.
And your best information on that is typically just the self-report of the patient. Yes?
Correct.
And your assumption is that the patient is trying to get care. Because the patient is trying to get care, that person, that patient is generally telling the truth, right?
You would hope so.
Yeah. You reviewed Dr. Kipper's deposition testimony informing your opinion about Mr. Depp's finger injury, correct?
Correct.
Informing your opinion, did you consider Dr. Kipper's deposition testimony that while Dr. Kipper was providing emergency treatment for
Objection, Your
Mr.
Honor.
Depp,
What's the
We approach-
objection?
Okay.
She's about to blow him out the water with Kipper. See, the
Right,
problem
yeah.
is that if you got another doctor who was on the scene, which Kipper was, and he treated it, Dr. Kipper could say, hey, there was a vodka bottle thrown. So now how do you do? So now he doesn't want to say that. He doesn't want to tell anything because now Kipper can kill the expert. What do you think, John? How do you think things are going?
I think that's exactly right. Because the worst thing that you want is the issue of the dueling experts, which is a pain in the head. But anyway, but Kipper comes across as way more credible and likable than this guy right now.
Yeah.
And as a practical matter, I don't know what the objection is, because if he used Kipper's testimony to formulate his opinion, then it's absolutely usable.
let's start over because it's important the jury hears this. So informing your opinion, did you consider Dr. Kipper's deposition testimony that while Dr. Kipper was providing emergency treatment for Mr. Depp's finger injury in Australia in the driveway of the house, Mr. Depp told him that his finger was injured when Miss Heard threw a vodka bottle at him?
I don't recall that from the deposition. I'd be happy to review it if you have the deposition available.
Huh?
Did you consider Dr. Kipper's
doesn't.
testimony that he recalled that Mr. Depp's finger was found in the kitchen?
I do recall that.
So you must have also seen Dr. Kipper's deposition testimony that he wasn't the one who actually found the finger, correct?
That's correct.
Dr. Kipper testified that someone he thought was the chef told him he found the finger in the kitchen area, correct?
I'm going to assume so without reading the deposition now.
Did you review any
that's
testimony
fine.
from Ben King in rendering your opinions today?
Not to my knowledge, no.
Did you see any of Mr. King's testimony at this trial?
I did not.
So you're not aware that Mr. King testified that he is the one who found Mr. Depp's finger, are you?
No.
And you're not aware that Mr. King testified that he found Mr. Depp's finger in the bar area, right?
Correct.
And you're not aware that Mr. King testified he found Mr. Depp's finger in a piece of tissue in the bar area either.
No.
And you're not aware that Mr. King testified that multiple broken liquor bottles were also found in the bar area, right?
Wow.
Correct.
If we could please pull up Defendant's Exhibit 1817, which is already in evidence.
You're about to hit the expert again. Damn, this guy's got a lot of problems.
This is a bloodbath.
Yeah. I think they have to. Hopefully, they can rehabilitate him because this is not going well.
I don't know what
And
you
it
did
may
to
be
rehabilitate at this
published,
point.
please.
I just don't have it yet.
That would help.
Yes. I just have a blank screen at the moment. There we go. Oh, start something.
Thank
There we
you.
go. Okay.
All right, here we go.
Have you ever seen this picture before, Dr. Moore?
No.
So you're not aware that this is the bar area where Mr. King testified he found Mr. Depp's finger.
No.
Do you see that broken vodka bottle in the back corner near the bottom?
Oh my god.
Yes.
Do you see the blood
Stop
drops
hitting him.
on the
He's
floor?
already dead.
Yes.
Can we please pull up Defendant's Exhibit 1820, which is already in evidence?
This ain't even fair. This ain't even fair anymore.
Have you seen this picture before, Dr. Moore?
I have not.
So you're not aware that this is also a picture from the bar area where Mr. King testified he found Mr. Depp's finger?
Correct.
Do you see the bloody tissue on the ground at the bottom of the bar?
Yes.
Do you see the blood drops around that tissue?
Yes.
So you didn't consider any of this evidence in rendering your opinion about how Mr. Depp injured his finger in Australia, did you?
I did not.
Bomb.
Nothing further, Your Honor. Thank you.
Wow.
Redirect.
Okay.
That's how you shut an expert
was-
down. He's looking like a fool.